So it's been about 8 or 9 days since I made kraut. If you missed that video, I'll link to it so that you can go back and see the process. Well, during that video, I talked about various ways that we eat kraut. A lot of you left comments, your favorite way to eat kraut on that video. And it's, you know, comes to mind, of course, is weenies and kraut. We would have that a lot when I was growing up. Granny would make weenies and kraut and cornbread and maybe pinto beans, soup beans we would call them, and that was a great meal. I like to eat kraut with pork, so sometimes I'll take a pork roast or a pork loin and just pour a jar of kraut over it and cook it, roast it that way or bake it that way in the oven. Lots of different ways. People like to eat them on just on hot dogs, actually, like in the bun, and just all kinds of ways to eat kraut. But I mentioned in that video, and several of you said you were interested in it, that the most unusual way that I've used kraut is in a chocolate cake recipe. One of my friends, online friends, Leon Pattenberg, he does Survival Common Sense is the name of his blog. It's a great blog with tons of information about the outdoors. If you're interested, you can check it out. And he has a great YouTube channel, Survival Common Sense, Leon Pattenberg. So he's been a long-time reader of my blog, Blind Pig and the Acorn. And many years ago, he shared a recipe with me that he would cook actually in a Dutch oven, like outside in a Dutch oven. Or you could also use, like I'm doing today, I'm going to put mine in a bundt pan. But anyway, it's a chocolate cake that has kraut in it. Well, as soon as he told me about it, I thought I have to try that. And I did, and I liked it. So it's a cake that I enjoy making, and it's another way to use kraut. But before I show you how to make the cake, I'm going to show you how our kraut that we made last week is doing. So I've already untied it, how Matt had it tied up, moved it over here from where I have it sitting on the counter. And then, I've took out the weight that I was using, a bag full of liquid. And one thing I wanted to say about that was so many of you had the best ideal about using that. You said you also used the bag full of water as a weight, but geniusly, I'd never thought of it, you actually put brine in the bag. So that way, if it leaks out, like I said, sometimes that might happen. If it leaks out, then you don't have anything to worry about because it's not diluting the kraut, which probably really wouldn't hurt it that much if it did, but just in case, that was a great tip, and I thank all of you who shared that. To fill the bag that you're using with weight, actually fill it with brined water, salt water. So as you can see, really I don't have any mold around the edges. You can see it's kind of maybe a little scummy in a place or two, and definitely the cabbage leaves have turned color, but you can, of course you can't smell, but I can smell. It's beginning to smell like kraut, but fermented things should smell fermented, so it definitely has an odor, but it should not smell off. Like, you will know if it was really bad and just, ugh. I mean, who hasn't smelled like a rotten potato or a rotten tomato or something like that? You'll know that smell. So as long as it has that nice smell and you don't see anything bad going on, if you did see some scummy water or something, you could certainly get a spoon or something and discard it if you wanted to. But just taking a quick look, and I'm not going to taste it today because, like I said, it's only been about 8 days, and we like to generally wait at least 14, maybe even up to 21 before we begin to taste it. But I wanted you to see how it was doing so far. So now that I've put the kraut away, I'm going to show you how to make the cake. Like I said, you could use a Dutch oven like Leon does. You could use cake pans. You could use anything. I use this bundt pan. It's like, bundt is the name of it. It's a big, heavy, old one. And when I was growing up, this is what Granny used. She had one like this. And I always wanted one, but it was like we never could really find one just like hers. The newer ones just didn't seem as sturdy or as nice. And I've had this one now for years. But one time I was at a thrift shop, a local thrift shop, used to be called Christian Love. Today it is Renewed Hope Ministries. It's in Peachtree, and I was there just prowling around seeing what I could find, and I found the bundt pan, just like Granny's. I was so excited. I think I paid $2 for it, if I remember right. I drove home, drove straight to Granny's house and showed her what I found. So she was as excited as I was. I'd eat so many of Granny's cakes over the years that I was just tickled to death when I found one exactly like the one that she had had for so long. So I'm going to go over the ingredients, but I will put the link down below that'll lead you to the recipe so that you can go and peruse it at your own leisure, so you won't be in such a hurry to try to write these things down. But it takes the recipe takes 2/3 cup butter, 1 1/2 cup sugar, 3 eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1/2 cup of cocoa, 2 1/4 cup plain flour. That's all-purpose flour. Granny and Pap called it plain flour, so I find myself calling it that. 1 teaspoon baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of water, and 1 cup of Kraut drained. Just open your, if you're buying it or if you've got a jar of it, open it or whatever and drain it, 1 cup. And so now we're going to show you how to make it. So the first step is to cream the butter and the sugar together. Once the butter and sugar is creamed, then you're going to add 1 egg at a time and mix well after each addition. We're going to add our last egg. So the next step is to mix all the dry ingredients, or to sift them all together, and that will mix them. So we have our flour. My usual sifter that I use is dirty, so that's why I'm using this little one. I may regret it. Maybe I'll make it.
48 years later.
Yeah, 48 years later. Might work. Now that I've got a little room, I'm going to add my cocoa, baking powder, salt, and soda. I have a real sifter somewhere where you just turn the little handle. But somehow I like doing it this way. I don't know if I think it's faster, if I think it's easier to clean up, or if I just like the magic of tapping it and watching the stuff fall out the bottom. So sometimes when you sift stuff, I think, why did I sift it? There's nothing in it. But sometimes there is. So there's a whole bunch of little pieces of stuff that I sifted out, so that's good. So the next step is to add the sifted ingredients and the water alternate between the two. We're going to start with the sifted ingredients. Okay, we're almost finished. I'm going to scrape down the sides one more time. And add the rest, add our star ingredient, the kraut. Yeah. So you can see our kraut, the way we make it, is pretty big pieces, so I didn't chop it up or anything. You could, if you're worried about having pieces in the cake, if you want to make yours really fine, chop it up. If it's not, especially if you buy it from the store and it's in big strings, you can certainly do that. You can take time to chop it up. And now we're going to mix it in. If y'all were here, I'd let you fight over who gets to lick the paddle. So I have the bun. I'm ready to put the batter into the bundt pan, and I did grease it. I think I forgot to tell you that part, but if you go look at the recipe, it'll be in there. But anyway, so you need to grease your bundt pan or your whatever type of cake pan that you're using. So we're going to bake it in a 350-degree oven for between 30 and 40 minutes. It really depends on your oven, but bake it till it's done. But at least it usually takes about 30 minutes, but sometimes as long as 40 according to the recipe. So we just got the cake out of the oven. As you can see, I have a helper here who's going to help me taste test it for you. one thing I was going to tell you that I forgot. Well, me and Corey actually helped me while I was baking the cake, helped me film it, and we were cleaning up, and look what I found, my vanilla. So I left the vanilla out. So we'll see if we can tell. I'm sure it'll be better with it, but we'll see. And you could put a icing on the cake if you wanted to. You could sprinkle like powdered sugar or something. I like to eat mine with peaches. That's how Pap liked to. A lot of people in the South like cocoa bread and peaches. So, but it's really good just plain by itself.
If you cut me a piece, don't cut me a big piece. Just cut me a little piece because I'm full from lunch.
Okay. This is a little piece.
It's still big, but I'll eat it.
You don't want peaches?
No, I think I'm just going to try it out.
So you can't, if your kraut is really fine, it will mostly cook up. If it's larger pieces like how mine was,
Hot.
you can still see little pieces of it in the cake. It kind of looks like coconut. If you can see a little piece there, kind of looks like coconut a little bit, but still really good.
Pretty
I'm
good.
gonna put peaches with
Pretty
mine.
good. Very chocolatey.
So do you taste the kraut?
I taste something that I think is probably the kraut, something wangy.
I
It's
don't
really
taste
good.
anything wangy.
Well, yeah, maybe wangy wasn't the way to put it. Not very wangy. I do think I taste the kraut though. It's really good. Chocolatey. If you like chocolate brownies, you'd love this, and I like brownies. I like all things chocolate.
It's good with the peaches. I can't taste the kraut at all. I don't
think I
you
can.
either.
I really believe I can.
You believe you can?
I believe I can. I have an incredible sense of hearing, smell, taste.
Katie's
Really good at
Katie's
that.
superhuman. Is that what you're telling us?
I am trying to say that I am superhuman.
Oh.
I swear I am.
Superhuman, or that you just have extra?
My extraterrestrial senses that make me superhuman. No, this is
That
good.
sounds like you're a super alien.
Could be. You never know. Aliens among us. No, I'm just joking. I'm no alien. Good. Very good.
Well, thank you. Think your daddy will like it?
Yes. He will love it.
It'd be really good with a cold glass of milk. That'd be
That's what I'm
perfect.
missing.
Or a cup of coffee.
Or ice cream.
Or ice cream, Corey says. Or ice cream. It would be good with ice cream.
I just keep eating it, and the more I eat, the more I like it. It's different, but I really like it.
I like that style of cake with ice cream and fruit.
Yeah, like a bundt cake or a pound cake or something with fruit and ice cream.
Strawberries.
No, milk is what's missing with
Yeah.
this, and it would be like milk and brownies.
It'd be good. Well, we hope you've enjoyed seeing how to make kraut chocolate kraut cake. Again, thanks to Leon Pattenberg for showing me how so many years ago. I appreciate him for that. You can go check out his channel and his site, Survival Common Sense. And I know that he'll appreciate that. Be sure to drop back by, and we'll continue to show you how our kraut's progressing, and when we actually deem it finished, when it's ready to eat or to put in jars or whatever we decide to do with it, we'll be sure to show you that. But mostly drop back by often and continue to help us celebrate Appalachia.
I'm going for milk.